Hello, this is Greg Allison, Green Greg's, coming to you on the 3rd March 22. Time on deck is 18:2700 hours Central Standard Time. My friends, the economy is about to be in a major train wreck. I have talked about that before, and you hear that on many other prepper type channels, finance channels, and of course you might have been hearing this kind of story for a long time. Well, guess what now? We are reaching a point where the trigger event with the price of oil going up sharply, principally vis-a-vis the conflicts going on in Europe right now, in Ukraine with Russia, the embargoes, the sanctions. That is the tripping point. We have major economic instabilities in our economy, and all these are about to hit. And I just got some very sobering news about this stuff today from a couple of articles, and it just so happens at the same time I've got this insight into something that I think you might be interested in. I've always said, yeah, why bother with gold? You can't eat it. But, you know, suddenly we've got a new way to transact it where you can maybe eat it, where you like trade it for a loaf of bread instead of a car, a truck, or an airplane. Because gold is worth so much. It's just been hard to transact. Well, there's some good guys with an organization called Goldback who have come up with a new innovation that I think is just outstanding. And we're going to be interviewing special guest today, Benjamin Schaefer, with Goldback, and what they're doing is just phenomenal. It's mind-boggling, actually. So I'll be bringing you more things like this to do with the economy and solutions. I like bringing solutions, and it's really fun to find something that's good news, this opportunity to get us out of the grid and out of the man's network. You know what I mean? So subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification bell, and click all. And oh, by the way, I've just set up an affiliate marketing with these outstanding gentlemen. And you're going to see that in the links below in the show notes and in the pin notes that I will pin in this video. So I'm going to show y'all a couple things. First of all, I'm going to ask Benjamin. Benjamin, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Benjamin, what got you into Goldback? How did you get into this?
Well, I'm not the founder. That would be Jeremy Corden and Chris Jensen, as well as Larry. But I'm an attorney. And so I first ran into the Goldbacks, I guess it's been a couple of years ago now. I was one of the very first businesses. They approached and they said, we've got this new kind of money, these Goldbacks. Would you be interested? They were asking all the business owners, would any of you business owners be interested in accepting this as a form of payment? Instead of using dollars, you get paid in gold. And knowing a little bit about the history of gold myself, I was absolutely enthralled. I thought, my goodness, gold doesn't normally work as money. Right? It's super expensive. Every different coin has a different premium, but I was absolutely on board right off the bat. I just thought it was amazing. It actually solves so many problems with money that people haven't even thought of. Most people aren't aware of all the nuances of what goes into making a currency, and this solves problems with money that have existed for thousands of years that have never been solved in this particular way. So it's a totally new concept, really. So yeah, I signed up my business. I was a big proponent. I accepted it as payment. And then eventually, I was coming in one day to get some more Goldbacks. And I was talking to Jeremy Corden, the founder, and he said, well, shoot, why don't you quit your private practice and come work for us? We're growing by leaps and bounds across the country, and we need more people on board. So I said, well, you know, only if you can afford to pay me enough to be worth it, you know. And
so you're a lawyer. Yeah, you're a lawyer, and you quit your law practice to trade this stuff. Wow, that says something about it.
Yeah, and it's really because this is a solution to money. It prevents problems. You know, I feel like as a lawyer, most lawyers, they spend most of the time they're running around trying to put out fires. Well, in this case, this stops so many fires from even starting. This stops so many problems from even occurring in our monetary system. And I thought, you know what, now that's going to make a real difference for the world.
Wow, and you don't have to deal with all the injured people and all the divorces and angry folks.
Well, that's true too. It's also a much more pleasant place to work.
Don't you miss the drama though?
No, I don't miss the drama.
All right, well, very good. I'm going to do a couple of shares here real quick, and then we'll get into the mechanism and innovation of what you have here. But just so people will know, I follow this channel called Peak Prosperity here. Chris Martinson, he is an excellent analyst, and one of the things he's laid out in this interview, which just got put out yesterday, is an economic warning about an imminent financial economic disaster. And this was something that was already in the cards. It was already coming. It's practically unavoidable due to our lack of investment in energy infrastructure, due to our escalating debt, which is growing exponentially, doubling once every 8 years, wherein the actual economy, the GDP, is not increasing nearly as fast. So there's a big gap there that is set to cause inflation and other economic collapse items in spades. And then when you add to that the fact that oil prices are about to be artificially jolted and shot up, well, they were already going to, just because of the lack of energy infrastructure. But this conflict is going to be the trigger point, apparently, that's going to precipitate quite an economic disaster. And how we deal with it, I don't know. He is the only one talking this. So I think he does the best job, because this guy is an excellent analyst, mathematician, system level thinker. But there's quite a few other articles floating around out here right now about economic destruction. We're not talking, just inflation or a recession. Guys, they're talking some major issues, some major problems. One of them that I've talked about a lot is food supply. But this is going to hit us all across the economy. It's going to wreck demand, and your money may be worthless before you know what to think about it. And so I'm going to come over here to this website. Y'all got to move it down to switch over here. Here is the Goldback website. And what you're looking at here, these are like bills, but they're really made of gold. And describe these to us. You just showed us some in your wallet, and that looks great. What are these?
Yeah. You bet. So this here's my wallet. It's we actually do sell these as well, so that just to show off how flashy they are. But on top of that, you've got what are they? They're basically very thin gold coins. What you're seeing there, all that shiny metal, that is actually pure 24 karat gold. And so they come in a variety of denominations, which means that they have full fungibility. One of the big issues with any financial system is there has to be what's called fungibility, that they can be interchanged for different amounts. For example, you can make change. If I were to give you, if you were to say, hey man, you owe me $20, you wouldn't be upset if I gave you 4 5s or 120 or 21s. Either way, it's still $20, right? Well, the problem with gold coins and silver coin too, even the old constitutional silver, is that it really isn't fungible. Those coins, they wear out. They have different values depending on, a bunch of different factors. These are fully fungible. So we've got a 1. That's the smallest unit. It's actually 1/1000th of a troy ounce of pure gold.
To be clear, this does not mean it's $1. It's a 1 unit, which is worth more than $1, and it keeps its value because it's still got the same amount of gold. So what is your one?
So the exchange rate, or the value of a Goldback, depends upon the price of gold and on the basically exchange rates. How are they set? They're set by a market demand. The market says, well, we want more dollars, or we want more euros, or we want more yen, or some other currency, right? It's the same with these. They have gold content, so that affects their value, of course, because we can't manufacture these out of thin air the way the Fed manufactures their money out of thin air. We have to manufacture them out of real gold. But then there's also the market value that trades in them, which is a good thing because it costs us quite a bit to manufacture these. It's a very advanced process. It's called vacuum deposition, and that's what makes it possible to make an exact measure of gold that's this small. You can't do that by stamping a coin.
Because I have I'm a space guy in addition to being a prepper, and for years we've had this interest in building something called light cells by doing vacuum deposition of aluminum on ultra thin films to make an ultra thin metallic cell that light itself could accelerate. And now I got another channel called Galactic Greg. People can go over there and see. I've got that as one of my videos. So by all means, this is an interesting process. You got vacuum deposition, so you can actually control the amount of gold by the layer of the deposition, the depth of the deposition on that size. So are all your bills the same square size?
No, they're not actually. So we can control the thickness, but we also control the size. So if you'll see, the 1 is quite small. It's decent size. You're not going to lose it, but it's It's smaller than a U.S. minted dollar, for example. The U.S. minted dollar, Federal Reserve notes are actually the same size as the 25. That makes it so that it can fit in your wallet too. But then each of them have a gradation in size. These are flat along the bottom, and then it goes up in different sizes as
that reminds me of old European money, like a lira. You know, the value of the money was the size of the bill or coin, for that matter.
You know, the nice thing too is if you hold one in each hand, you can tell from the massive difference in the thickness. So the 25 here has 25 times as much gold as the one. And you can tell just by holding it. So one of the things I like to say is this currency is not only the most secure and valuable currency that the world's probably ever known, but it's completely uncounterfeitable. Even a blind man can tell you if it's real, if it's counterfeit or not, because these bills feel that different weight based on their gold content.
And if you so chose, you could melt it down and extract a little ball of gold out of it.
Correct, though we don't actually encourage that. And the reason why, and that's not going to be necessary anyway, because we will exchange. You could use it as a note, essentially, much like other currency. If you want gold bullion delivered, this is also a note for raw gold bullion to be delivered to you, or in the form of U.S. minted gold coins. So, for example, 1 ounce gold coins from the U.S. Mint are either the Double Eagle or the Buffalo coin. Those have that same gold content, and so do these. So.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm gonna go back to your website, and we're gonna look through that real fast, just to let people see it from the standpoint of what's here on this website. And then I'll show y'all my affiliate marketing site where you can go and buy this stuff. So, goals is to create the best physical money the world has ever seen. Well, you know, it's not going to lose value like a dollar bill is about to, and with the coming inflation we're about to get. This is awesome. I have, you know, and they're pretty. Wow. Now, what is the ink? I imagine the ink is very minuscule and compared to the weight of gold. But what are you using for ink?
Well, sure. Yeah, the ink and the polymer basically are for those security features. So essentially, what you've got here is a very thin gold coin that is also guaranteed. It basically incorporates its own certificate of authenticity. Everything from the fact they're serialized, there are serial numbers here. Let me see if I can show that to you. Real small right there. To all of these other security features, security strips, things like that go into the design of these, prevent them from being able to be photocopied, for example, and all that. Besides the fact that what you're actually seeing is the gold itself. That's not printed, that's gold. And so they can't be faked, they can't be copied, but also they can't be degraded. One of the biggest problems with gold coin is if you take it out of its plastic container, pretty much every gold coin in the world comes in some kind of plastic container. If you take it out, though, and you've got change jingling in your pocket, you're wearing it down, you're wearing it out. These, on the other hand, are protected by that polymer coating on the outside. Now, that'll vaporize. If you have a proper crucible, it'll vaporize at a lower temperature than the gold melts. And so, yes, the gold is fully recoverable. But the exact formula for it, it's actually a kind of polyester, is actually proprietary, and it's a patented process.
Nice. Well, that is an amazing innovation there. Who came up with this idea?
So the idea credit really probably goes to the founder, Jeremy Corden, and to Valorum, which is the mint that we use to mint this product. The founder of Valorum is Adam Trexler, Dr. Adam Trexler. And basically, it uses that same kind of vacuum deposition technology you were talking about earlier, so that you can atomize the gold.
Yeah.
And that way you can measure the exact amount, basically down to the atom.
That's what you're doing with vacuum deposition. That's an amazing process. So I'm really impressed with that. Tell me how you get around this idea of printing and coining money, and any problems you might have with the federal government, state governments. How do you stay above the fray, and how does someone know they're safe and they're not going to be in getting in trouble for buying and using this kind of coinage?
Well, basically, barter transactions are allowed in every state in some form or another. The other thing too is this is not U.S. Dollars, right? Like you said, if this one is worth almost $4 right now at today's exchange rate, if you did this for only $1, you're definitely doing it wrong.
There you go. And you
It's
don't
its
call
own
it a
thing.
dollar, you call it a Goldback.
That's right. You call it a Goldback, not a dollar,
Kind of
because it's
old
not a dollar.
greenback,
It's a
except
Goldback.
this is gold.
That's right.
Wow.
But one of the things that really started us out was there's something called the Utah Legal Tender Act in Utah that made gold and silver coin legal tender in the state of Utah. And the U.S. Constitution states that states cannot make anything but gold and silver coin legal tender. And so but that means, of course, they can make gold and silver coin legal tender.
Well, then how do we get away with the fiat money that the Federal Reserve is printing? How do we claim that's legal?
Well, there's a lot of people who would say it's not, but it's one of those issues that's been hard to appeal or change. At this point, it's ingrained in the system. I think a lot of people, they want to go back to a gold standard. They want to have real money, real value, because they're worried about losing their savings. And what they've been hoping for is the government to save them, to fix that for them. I know a lot of people who say, well, let's just go back to the gold standard. And I think when they say that, they're almost imagining that somewhere in the Federal Reserve, there's just like a big switch on the wall that they could just flip the switch and we're back on the gold standard. Well, there really isn't any way to do that, right? The only way to do that is to make something new that actually is gold and is on the gold standard. And that's one of the reasons why we invented these.
Well, what I love about this is that it's not going to be dependent on the existence of digital systems. Should the power grid go down, your Bitcoin is not going to be around. I mean, how do you trade Bitcoin with no internet, with no power grid?
Right.
Because even if you might have your digital device, it might survive. It won't be long until it dies out, and there won't be any communications between it and other things. And also,
right. If you just lose your key, for example, even if you don't have your recovery key, we know that that's happened to several people already. There was I'm trying to remember which town, but there was somebody in England apparently who had a hard wallet that he lost or was thrown away, but it was back when Bitcoin was worth less than a tenth of a penny per Bitcoin, and so he just didn't worry about it. And now he's like, we need to go to the dump. We need to dig it up. We got to find any piece of that hard drive and recover some of that Bitcoin,
Worth a fortune now, yeah. Yeah, so that's
worth a fortune now, supposedly. But yeah, so the problem is that so there's certain problems in money. One of them is centralization and manipulation. That's what we're dealing with when it comes to inflation and all these things. And Bitcoin was trying to solve that. They were trying to solve it by saying it won't just be one central authority that can mess with it. Every person has their own. Well, that's kind of the same thing with this. This isn't just a promise for gold. This is gold. So unlike the old gold standard or silver standard, back in the day, you might have had, say, a silver certificate. In fact, I've got one here. You might have had one of these old silver certificates. And you could take that down and you could trade that in for that piece of silver that was what the real dollar was. This isn't a dollar. This is a coupon for a dollar. The actual dollar was the silver. But the problem is somebody else had your silver. You didn't have it, right? What if that bank prints more of those silver certificates than it has silver? Then maybe only the first few people who get to that bank are going to be able to actually turn it in and get the silver because they're going to run out. Well, it turns out that's exactly what happened. And that's why Nixon said, nope, we're done. Why were they done? Because they knew they could not honor those certificates. So that's why we went to a fully fiat system. Well, the danger is people will say, well, how do I trust gold back then? If we couldn't trust the feds back then, why should we trust gold back? The difference is you don't have to trust gold back. We manufacture it, yes, but it's been assayed by many independent third parties who guarantee, yes, this has the exact amount of gold in it that we promise it does. Every batch is tested. And then once you get these in your wallet, in your safe, in your pocket, you have the gold. if anything, if the feds were to shut us down, which is what some people will ask, well, if you're making money, are you afraid the feds are going to get upset about that? And, so far, I'm very confident that everything we're doing is legal. But let's say they change the rules just so they can shut us down. If we become some kind of a threat to the system, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They can shut us down, and the goldbacks in your pocket will only be worth more, not less, because they're gold. And if we get shut down, it just means we're not making anymore.
So they become collectibles.
Yeah, that's right. And they're already pretty collectible. There's a lot of beautiful art on them. There's different series, things like that. So you can already collect them, basically.
They are beautiful. I've been seeing that. That's amazing. So
yeah, we've got 4 state series that have been officially launched and declared. So there's Utah, that was the first state, then Nevada, then New Hampshire came out at the beginning of 2021, and this year, Wyoming.
Okay, what if I'm in Alabama? What about those of us out here in the hinterland that the state hadn't agreed to make it a legal tender for silver and gold? What do we do?
Well, if you're in a state that doesn't accept it as legal tender, that means you probably can't pay your taxes in it. But it does mean that you should be able to make any trade. It's still valuable. It's still gold. Anywhere you go in the world, gold is still valuable.
I can't pay my taxes in Bitcoin, I don't think yet, so I don't see the difference in that really.
Yeah, what's exciting though, you can pay your taxes in Bitcoin in Colorado next year. They just approved that. That's going to be interesting. Okay. But yeah, so basically that's the only thing. It just depends on who will take it, who wants it, who knows the value of gold. They'll just make a trade for you.
Well, that's pretty amazing. But if that's a fair way to store value and keep it in your pocket, in your real wallet, and it's grid down proof, which I find that attractive. And it's also, they're trying to decash us right now. They're basically, a lot of the federal government would like to get rid of paper money and give us no way to trade except through their system. There's rumors that they want to come up with this digital buck, that is going to, like they have in China, that they give you the money, but it's got a string attached to it. And if suddenly you're not good in their social credit system, your money goes poof. You don't have it, but they can't take this from you that way. And they can't track that. They don't know every time you use one of these to buy a roll of toilet paper. They'll just have too much information on you with the systems that are coming with what they're planning. Mm-hmm. But this gets you out of that.
We're already at that point, basically. Somebody sees my debit card or something. I pull that out, I buy gas, I buy everything, all these things. The IRS can already see almost everything anyone does. Privacy is already almost dead, which basically makes even the Fourth Amendment already almost dead. There's just so much surveillance in the world today. You can be sure, for example, that this YouTube video, it's out there on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Download it. And it doesn't matter if it's 5, 10, or 100 years from now. If someone wants to look it up in the future, once it's out there, it's out there. And pretty much everything that anyone says ends up being recorded by the government at this point. So yeah, that's one of the few things that's nice about this. This is a form of cash, and cash is basically untraceable. Now, you don't have to be doing something nefarious or illegal to want a little privacy in your life.
No.
And these having that intrinsic value means that if you're going to trade something of value with somebody, if you're going to use cash, why not use cash that has actual value? If you put these in a fire, you get gold out. You put
burns up, but that'll just melt down.
Right. You put your paper money in a fire and it's just gone.
Yeah, good point. I like that. Good point. So you can pile this up in a little safe in the house, and when the house burns down, there'll be a little puddle in the bottom, and there it is, because gold's heavy.
That's right. You still have that puddle of gold. You haven't lost all your cash. But if you're putting paper money in under your mattress or something like that, and the house burns down, it's just gone.
Oh yeah, amen to that. Amen to that. Wow, there's a lot of advantages to this. It's amazing. I'm just impressed. So, it might be a little difficult to trade with people that aren't familiar with it. but I think this is going to catch on. It's going to grow because it's just so interesting. I'm gonna go back to the share screen and go to your website one more time. Just guys, look at how pretty this stuff is. I mean, it's very
Yeah.
artful. It looks kind of like the notes you would expect in the old days of banknotes, except even more artful. And let's see, solves a 26-year-old problem. It can be spent in small interchangeable increments. See, that's what's good. You can buy a loaf of bread or something with this. It's not the ginormous value that you normally get with an ignorant or a gold coin. So, guys, this is pretty amazing, and it's going to retain value. Unlike I think the inflation and what it's about to do to our paper money, to the dollar with its digital paper. And Bitcoin's very erratic. I actually lost some money on Bitcoin recently, so it's a very erratic exchange. I think it's coming back now, but this is just amazing. And what's cool about this also, let me squeeze this down so I can change tabs here. I've got a user link here. You can come in. I'll put the link on here. This is my affiliate marketing link. You can come in here, and I'll get some minuscule share, a little finder's fee, a commission, not a big one, but I think it adds up over time for somebody purchasing here. But guys, look at this. These are interesting purchases. You can buy. It tells you how much you're getting. 1 gram Buffalo autumn note. Let's see, Canadian maple leaf if you're Canadian. And so there's different things in here. Then you can get the notes like he was showing us, the 1 Utah Goldback, 5 Utah Goldback, 10 Utah Goldback, 25 Utah Goldback. And, hey, I go to Utah sometimes. You're Nevada, equivalents of that. So, yeah, and you got different artwork for each state. It's amazing.
Yep. And I want to point something out to you here too. Look at the prices on that. That is lower than the actual exchange rates that you can buy them from.
Wow.
From Defy the Grid there. So that means that if you transition from using paper dollars to using these more often, you're actually saving a small percentage of your money. It doesn't cost you anything. This is one of the things that's hard for people to wrap their heads around. People think, well, I would be buying these gold notes. No, you're exchanging. You're exchanging one form of money for another. You're exchanging an unstable fiat currency for real value. And when you do so, the demand for these is high enough that the demand has set that exchange rate at a higher rate, at least for now. More people want them than can get them. So save yourself a few percentage points, turn some of your spending money into Goldbacks, and get out there and spread the word. Not only are you creating sound money in your community, which may really save us during this inflation crisis that many of us think we're headed into, and save those local businesses that you patronize.
No kidding.
But on top of that, you're actually saving money. You're not actually spending money.
No kidding. I may have to find a way to start selling worms in this. It's another little side business I have. So, by the way, guys, check it out. There are other products they have. You can buy gold coins through this link. Right now, this one's out. You can get this guy here. If you really need and want the larger gold coinage, it is available through my affiliate link here. You can get silver. There's other things. You can get the wallet. He said you can buy the wallet. That's a good price on a wallet like that. That's not bad. You can buy the wallet and all.
They're genuine leather.
So there's some really cool stuff here. And I love the title of my affiliate link here. It's Defy the Grid. Defy the Grid. Defy. It's basically you are no longer supporting the man, the system. We are on our own here, developing our own way. So some of us are working on independent communications networks. I'm involved in some of that. I'm doing one through my Freedom Restoration Foundation for an internet social system that's going to be totally apart from everything else. We've got a comm system through a Lee Wilbarger organization I'm associated with. Now, here's a different monetary system. I'm forming a group of survival tribes, of mutual assistance groups, you might say. So all this kind of goes hand in hand. We need a medium of exchange. And I was wondering, wow, how can we come up with a money that we can use that's going to be good and non-traceable? Voila, y'all have already done it. And really, from my knot hole that says Utah or Nevada, it really don't make any difference because they got the same amount of gold in them. They should exchange the same way and barter. And maybe, I can, if you go to my Freedom Restoration Foundation Action Center, you can find ways to contact your state legislatures and encourage them to make this legal tender where you can pay your taxes in the state with this money, or even maybe go in and buy a car tag. See, that'd be amazing. So you can do that in some states already. It's catching on. I think all the conservative states ought to be jumping on the bandwagon with this real fast. So I think this is going to spread, and it's going to spread quickly. Anyway, I'll stop at share. So I'll have this link right here below in my what I'll show you out in a little bit. So we'll stop the share here. Wow.
So yeah, I think that they really should catch on. Of course, if anybody has a business, like you said, you do live bait or something, why not put yourself on a list, join a business network, or form a business network in your community that uses gold, or even that uses silver products, anything that you can to protect your local supply chain, your local business owners from the types of inflation that we're already experiencing is going to help your community.
I'd worry about people mailing it though. What do you think about that? If people were mailing me these, I might get targeted.
About in the mail?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it is true that they could get stolen in the mail. We do, however, have some affiliates that you can buy those Goldbacks from, right? And some of them do offer insurance on those shipments. So as long as you get a decent turnaround time, you order a different set if it gets stolen. But
for customers mailing me stuff to me for exchange of what I'm selling, of course, I can do some direct sales here locally. I mean, local sales, I'm good with this. Wow.
At a certain dollar value, you're going to want tracking and insurance just because it is cash. Sending cash in the mail can be a little tricky. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but absolutely, you're going to do better in your business if you know that you have value. Let me tell you my own story. I told you I was a lawyer in private practice before I started working actually directly for the company Goldback. I made a price list denominated in Goldbacks and in dollars. It just said the Goldback price, the dollar price. And when I did that, my goal was to say, I will give you 10% off if you pay me in gold instead of in the dollar, because I knew that, give it a little bit of time and the Goldbacks would be worth more over time. I knew that mentally, right? But I made that list and then I forgot to update it. And the exchange rate between the dollar and the Goldback just steadily went up because the value of the dollar steadily went down. And I had someone less than a year ago, before I started working at Goldback, they wanted an estate plan. It's always good to have your documents in order, have a trust, that kind of thing to protect your assets. And he said, I'll pay you in dollars. I'm not going to pay you in Goldbacks. And I said, well, why not? And he said, well, because it'll cost me more to pay you in Goldbacks. That's a lot more value in Goldbacks than it is in dollars. Went back and looked, and yeah, since I'd made the chart, the dollar had lost more than 20% of its value as opposed to the Goldbacks.
Wow. So did you update your chart and reprice it?
Yeah, I did. And he paid in Goldbacks.
Yay. And you still won in the long run.
Yeah, and I'm still going to win and I'm still winning in the long run. Gold's gone up recently, of course, compared to the dollar, just because the dollar's in trouble. It really is. And people are starting to see it. I think that this is still early days. If you get in now, it'll still continue that general trend. Sure, it goes up and down a little bit day to day, but overall, the trend is clearly up and always has been because the dollar is always going to have inflation. Maybe it's a little, but this year it's probably a lot.
I think it's going to run away here real soon based on what I'm seeing. And if anybody wants to check out, go check out that video I showed from Chris Martinson at Peak Prosperity. I like that guy. He's really sharp and he's really putting us in tune with what's coming. Well, Benjamin, I am impressed. I'm impressed what you guys have and are doing. And I'm planning to talk with a couple of other of you guys down the road. I hope to get a hold of Jeremy and Coda and some of the others and bring them on to my channel here. Maybe we'll get you back on here. So it's amazing that you turned over a law practice and went into this.
And, it's a very exciting thing. And this has basically just been a little bit of an introduction to people as to why we need better money and why this really is, I believe, the solution to so many of our monetary problems. So,
well, I do have some subscribers in Utah. I've got subscribers in Nevada and other states like that. So this is amazing. Well, Benjamin, I really appreciate it. You got any final words, anything you'd like to point out before we're gone?
Sure. Thanks for having me on, of course. And Goldbacks are definitely going to be increasing. One of the things we've been talking about lately that we're excited about is that we've gone from small scale to large scale production. We've only turned about $20 million into this form, into Goldbacks so far. But we're expecting that we can more than triple that this year alone. So it's one of those things where it's really starting to ramp up in a major way. And so we're hoping that no matter where you are, get some, protect your assets.
This is a ground floor. It's always good to find something that's still at the ground floor.
That's right. But that ground floor, we're trying to leave it behind now. So it's about to really take off. So now's probably your best time.
All right, Benjamin, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You have an awesome day, and maybe we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. And everyone, I suggest y'all check this out. I'll put the links in here and use my affiliate link to buy this stuff if you so decide. And good luck with everything coming. And with that, I'm going to say thank you and Greg out.